Well, they're the questions we all argue about, we all think we're right about. What should you do, for instance, if you think a friend's spouse is cheating?
In the 1980s, my next guest was a writer for Late Night with David Letterman right here in this studio. Now he's the ethicist for the New York Times Magazine.
Is it ever okay to lie on a resume?
Before our next guest became a big-time columnist and author, he was a writer for the David Letterman program and this one as well. Now he's the ethicist for the New York Times.
Should you give someone a great reference just because they need work?
Doing the right thing is the right thing to do, of course, but it's not always an easy choice, as letters to the ethicist prove every Sunday in the New York Times Magazine.
Parents like Deborah say they're not looking for some competitive edge. They're just trying to ease their child's burden. What, they wonder, could be so unethical about trying to get their kids some sleep?
A lot, says Randy Cohen, a parent of a 15-year-old and the author of the Ethicist column for the New York Times Magazine.
You have pets who need medical care, but there are people who need medical care. How can you justify spending it on animals?
It's a tough one. If you ask the question that way, cat care or human care, most people would say human care, although most cats would disagree, interestingly.
A coworker is involved in an adulterous relationship. He's my boss. I'm afraid to confront him. I hate what he's doing. He's running from his family. What should I do? This is a tricky one.
You should do nothing. That you do not have a say about your boss's private life.
If you're driving around late at night and there's no one there, is it okay to run a red light?
Well, I'm from New York, and we regard traffic lights as friendly suggestions, so I'm not in a position to look down on you.
To what extent does, when we see everyone lying, do people feel they're given permission to lie?
You know, I'd like to reject your premise to begin with. I don't think people lie any more now than they ever did. Johnson wrote about it.
You just think we hear more about it, we read more about it, people are caught on it more?
Yes, there's more television now than there was in the 1600s, for instance.
I'm about to buy a cool SUV, but my friends act like I'm some kind of criminal. Am I? That was RC in New York.
It depends where you're going to drive the SUV. If you're going to be driving it on the unforgiving lunar surface, then buy yourself an SUV, because what else can you do? Or if you're going to be driving it off the road a lot and you truly need those features that make the SUV fine, all right. But if you're going to be driving it around decent people on the paved highways of America, I think it's not ethical to drive an SUV. I write a column for the New York Times Magazine called The Ethicist, where I respond to ethical queries from readers. And when someone wants to denigrate the column, the thing they say is, oh, it's just a jumped-up Ann Landers. And I think, I wish